My number 10 team, ladies and gentlemen, for this week, even though they're coming off of back-to-back losses, I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFL, and I went with the New York Giants at number 10.
That's too low for them. They got to be higher.
I trust every team I have ahead of them more than them right now. So
2 weeks ago, you had them in the top 3, I think.
I did. And back-to-back losses, where you blow a fourth-quarter lead against Pittsburgh, and
Number 10 is Pittsburgh.
I was going to put them, but you know what? After the Big Ben, that was the thing, too. When I did this, Big Ben wasn't injured yet. That's the thing that sucks. Because I probably would have changed it if Big Ben got injured. Because, I mean, next week's going to be huge. And I don't know if he's going to be able to play. But whatever. I went with Giants at 10. I understand where you're coming from because Pittsburgh hasn't looked that amazing or that special to anybody, but they're just the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the fact that they're running the ball better this year is something that, and you know what, and I think that's something that me and you will agree on. It's nice to see the Pittsburgh Steelers run the ball. Takes you back a little bit.
But that's what they should do.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
That's Pittsburgh Steeler football.
You know what I'm trying to say. It brings you back compared to the past couple of years where they try to throw it all over the place. You could bring in a little bit more of a run game, go back to the bus days and, you know, all the good old times. I actually enjoy seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers run the ball. So he's got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10. I got the New York Giants at 10. I got the New England Patriots at 9.
All the way down at 9.
All the way down at 9. Extremely inconsistent. Should have probably lost to Buffalo this past Sunday. But they still have Tom Brady. So
that's the only reason that they're at 9?
I can't put them much higher. Their defense is inconsistent, and even offensively, they're not executing week in and week out.
So I got the Pack at 9.
You got the Pack at 9?
The Pack attack.
Did we swap? Where you got New England? Do you have them at 8?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, then we didn't swap. I got Green Bay at 8. I actually feel the same way almost about them that I do about New England. Pretty much for the exact same reasoning. You have a great quarterback, hence why you're in the top 10, but your defense is inconsistent, and you saw what this offense struggles without having their wide receivers healthy. They're just not the same team without, I mean, specifically Jordy Nelson more than anybody else. I mean, Jennings has been out for a couple weeks, but when Jordy went down and Cobb and Jones were there 1-2, they just weren't the same offense. They need to be able to spread you out to really do what they need to do. And you got Clay Matthews with a hamstring injury, and the defense is just Charles Woodson with the broken collarbone, not due back for another 2-3 weeks. Just, you know, I mean, the defense to me is just inconsistent, which it was last year too. Still went 15-1.
At 8 is where I have my New York Football Giants.
Oh, okay. You're making me feel bad. Like I dropped, like was like blasphemous that I put them at 10. 8, I could see them at 8. I could definitely see that. I just, like I said with the Giants, the 2-game losing streak, I still think they're still one of the best teams in the NFL. You've seen so many inconsistencies from them over the past 2.5 weeks. It's just been a little, and I say half weeks because half of that Giant game, they looked amazing. The other half of the Giant Cowboy game, they didn't look amazing at all.
So you got 7.
At number 7, I got the San Francisco 49ers.
See? Again.
Too far for you?
Too far.
I don't know, man. I understand it's a division game, but you got Akers missing a game-winning field goal that you should have had. They were trailing at one point against St. Louis. They let Sam Bradford look pretty good. And like I said, I talked to Eric about this on the ride down. It seems that teams can run the ball on San Francisco much better than they did last year, which anything would have been an improvement than last year. I mean, you couldn't move against San Francisco when you ran the ball last year against them, but I don't know. And Alex, like I said, I say every week when I talk about San Francisco, this team cannot play from behind. And that, to me, is a big problem. So I got them at 7.
I got the Broncos.
Now the Broncos at 7. Really? I got that. I got them high.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with what I saw of their defenses, now it is Carolina, but I got them higher. So
Carolina, they, listen, they're a good football team, but they're not outstanding yet. They're still young on defense. Peyton Manning's still going to have a game or two where he's not going to be Peyton Manning-esque. He's had 2 of those games already this year where he's thrown multiple TDs, or multiple interceptions, I mean. So I look at it as there's still some growing pains with this team, but are they one of the better teams in the league? Absolutely, so that's why I got them at 7.
Fair enough. Now, at number 6 is where I put Pittsburgh, and like I said, I did this before. I did this at almost right after I got out of work. I started thinking about this just to get one thing done before, the later part of the night got here. So I did this already. I had Pittsburgh at 6. I thought that was a huge come from behind win against the Giants. I felt, going into the game against Kansas City, I felt like they were going to dominate that. They obviously did not. Weather played somewhat of a part, but it looked like Kansas City came to play. So I don't think weather would have. I don't think if it was a nice night, the game would have went that much different. Kansas City came to play last night, and they really gave the best effort that team has, which is still a loss. But they still gave the best effort that team had against Pittsburgh last night. But I just think this Pittsburgh team, if Ben can come back, seems to be getting more and more comfortable with the new offensive playbook and I like the way they call plays. I like how they keep running a play to set up a defense to bite for the big play later in the game. I like that. I just like that, bait and switch kind of idea where it's like, oh, we ran a short screen. Oh, half a quarter later, we ran that same short screen. Another half quarter later, we ran that same short screen. Then all of a sudden it's fourth quarter, and we're going to fake the short screen and send, Emmanuel Sanders deep past the safety because he came to bite on the short screen. I like that. I think that's a cool little way to go about it. Keep baiting and baiting and baiting a defense to go get them. Your defense is good enough that if these plays don't work, you can trust in them to keep the game close for you so that sooner or later it does work for you. And you could be, as a head coach, you can tell your players all the time, stay home, play your position. It's natural reaction for guys to bite and react because they want to make a play. They don't want to be the guy that has the ball, have the runner go past them.
The old baiter from Decatur?
Yeah. So I like how Pittsburgh's run their offense, and Dick LeBeau defense is a Dick LeBeau defense. There's nothing else needs to be said about it.
On offense, they're a bunch of masturbators.
Oh, stop it. So I got Pittsburgh at 6. I think if I had to redo this one, though, after last night's game, I probably would have pushed them back a little bit. But I didn't, and here we are, and I'm sticking with it. I'm not changing. So Pittsburgh's my number 6.
Number 6.
Numero 6.
The Pat Riots.
The Pat Riots at number 6?
Pat Riots at number 6.
Why? What makes you have them that high?
Because they're tough. They're only getting better on defense. Although it didn't really show this week, giving up 31 to Buffalo, but they are playing better defense as a whole this year than they were last year. Let's just say their offense is just still monstrous. With Gronkowski, Hernandez, even though he's been hurt, Wes Welker, even, Lloyd's been getting in the mix, getting about 5 catches a game or so. I like what they're able to do on offense, especially with Tom Brady, running the show. Belichick's one of the best coaches in the league. You never count them out come playoff time. They're always going to be one of the tougher teams. You're never going to want to go to Foxborough and play, but it's going to happen. And they're starting to pull away in that division. So, for all those reasons, I like the Pat Riots, the Patriots, and number 6.
All right, cool. You know what? I understand. Look, you got Tom Brady. All right, it's that damn simple. You got Tom Brady. Your team's pretty damn good. I just don't trust their defense. There's similar. Look. Them and Green Bay to me are pretty much exactly what they were last year. Good offenses, bad defenses. Offense is good enough to carry the defense. The defense steps up once the offense gets a big enough lead and tends to make a play or two for you. That to me is really the definition of what both these teams do, and it works for them. At number 5, I have the Be More Ravens. I've jumped them back into my top 10 after last week. And not only did I jump them back in, but I jumped them all the way up to number 5 because I am truly hoping for their team and believing that hopefully they figured out to get Ray Rice the ball more. I know this past week against Oakland, they just were able to do whatever they wanted to, and that's why Ray Rice didn't have as many touches as you'd like to think he should have. But I can't fathom him not touching the ball a minimum of 20 times this coming Sunday against Pittsburgh. I can't fathom him not averaging, 20 touches a game for the rest of the season. And the way this offense looked this past Sunday, now, mind you, it was Oakland. All right, let's be serious here. It was Oakland. And if Oakland's front four doesn't work, that defense just doesn't work. So I don't want to get overly excited about what their offense did. But I think that if their offense can put up 21, 24 a game consistently, then you're good. Because the defense, even without Ray Lewis and without Ladarius Webb, still is going to hold teams under 21 a game. I truly believe that. Carson Palmer went nuts Sunday, but I do believe this defense is good enough to hold teams at 21 a game. And if their offense can give you 24.
See, my team at number 5 also plays great defense. The 49ers.
The San Francisco 49ers at
who,
number 5.
Even though they tied this week, which I think we should talk about after our next break, because ties just shouldn't happen. Not at this level, anyway. I look at it as they're still one of the most balanced offensive teams. They run the ball really well with Gore. Even though Alex Smith went down with a concussion this week, that kid Kaepernick came in, and he did a pretty good job in relief. Plus, he brings that element of
a serious running quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. That he can get out of the pocket, but he seems to be one of the guys that wants to stay in the pocket.
Yeah. And he has a rocket. Now, how accurate he is and all that, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But the man can put some arm
So I don't
behind
think
the ball.
losing Alex Smith is going to be that big a deal. And they play defense. So I look at it as they're balanced on both sides of the ball. And who really is going to want to play that team come playoff time? Nobody. Nobody's denying that they're going to get in the playoffs. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, for them not to make the playoffs, a lot of things would have to happen. I mean, this team, what are they, 6-3-1? I believe their standings are right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for them not to make the playoffs, 6-2-1. I'm sorry.
6-2-1.
6-2-1. Seattle at 6-4. I mean, their division's close. I mean, it's only a 3-game difference in the division right now. So it's not like they're running away with it. But what I like more than anything is that they are, third in the league in point differential. They've only given up 127 points on the year, which is first in the NFL. And that, to me, is where they rest their hat. Like I said, it's just not a team that can play from behind. It's that simple. But their defense is really, really good. So the odds of them playing from behind are pretty slim. As long as their offense doesn't shoot themselves in the foot, I mean, it's pretty slim.
Well, they're not a team that's going to come back from 20-0, but if it's a 3-point game or a 7-point game, I think that they're well within reach. I disagree a little when I think you say they can't play from behind. I think they can play from behind. They just can't play from a huge deficit, which most teams in the league can't do. So I'm not going to penalize them for
it. But
that.
I think there are I think there are other teams in this list alone that you feel if they were behind by 2 touchdowns, still have a good chance to come back and win the game. I think San Francisco to me is the only team in this list that I don't see being able to do that.
I think they can. I don't think you're giving them enough credit on offense.
They haven't done anything to really make me give them enough credit on offense. They run the ball really, really good, mind you. I won't argue that. But when you're down 14, you're not running the ball. You saw what the Giants did when they pulled ahead of them. All they did was drop back and play zone coverage. They just sat there and waited for Alex Smith to make a bad read and throw the ball. Look, I agree. This San Francisco team is still one of the best teams in the NFC. Still arguably one of your favorites to make the NFC Championship, and still in the conversation for making a Super Bowl. Who you got at number 4?
The Bears.
The Bears. You got a Bear? Oh, okay. So now I see who you got at 3. I got Denver at 4. I like that. I like.
too high
I
for
think
them.
their defense is getting better. I think that you saw a performance. Their special teams actually did something this past week, and to me, Peyton Manning just getting better and better with Decker, Thomas, and the tight end, Dreesen, not Dreesen. Yeah, Dreesen. Yeah. I think Peyton with those three is getting better. The run game looks like it's starting to fall back to what Indianapolis used to be like, where it was all throw and the offensive line just didn't understand the concept of run blocking. But whatever. They still have McGahee, who's a tough runner, and he'll go fight for 3 yards. And like I said, I think this team, if they get leads, is almost impossible to beat, because I think Von Miller and Doomerville might be one of the best 2 pass rushers out there when they actually go at the quarterback with a lead.
Number 3.
Yeah, I already said my 4. All right, number 3, I got the Bears. I put Chicago at number 3. I still think this team is the defense does it for me. It's really, and Fortes is still healthy, and I don't think Cutler misses anything more than a game. So I mean, now if they lost Cutler for good with Jason Campbell, I don't trust this team anymore. But
3 and 4 could have went either way for me with the Bears and the Ravens. I ended up going with the Ravens at 3. They're still awesome on defense, obviously. And their offense really seemed to click this past week. Hopefully they can keep it going. They did put up 55 this week, so we'll see if there's a drought next week, because sometimes that happens with teams who put up a lot of points. But yeah, I got the Ravens at 3. Number 2, I got the Falcons at 2.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew we were going to end up agreeing.
So I'm guessing you got the Falcons 2, Texans at 1. It's because the Texans beat Chicago at home. Same reasons.
Texans
and the
go on the
Falcons
road and
just
win. Atlanta can't beat New Orleans.
But they lost in New Orleans. So I think could it be different when they go to Atlanta and play in a couple of weeks? Sure can. But so we agree there.
Yeah, and I think the thing with this Houston team is the one loss that they do have against Green Bay. If you really think about the scenario they got Green Bay in, they got Green Bay in this we need to win or our season could be over attitude. They got the last year's MVP in the I have to carry my team to a victory mentality because we can't afford another loss. And it was a Sunday night primetime game. They caught Green Bay at such a bad moment that I'm still surprised they got shellacked the way they did by Green Bay, but I don't think they had a shot at winning that game just because everything Green Bay needed to have happen. It just meant too much to Green Bay, in my opinion. So Houston 1, Atlanta 2. I think based on everything we've seen so far this year, I think it stays very similar for the remainder of the year. We've only got 5-6 weeks left, and I really think that especially those top 2 teams, I get the feeling it's going to be very similar for the rest of the year. I do. I mean, unless Atlanta all of a sudden collapses or Houston gets riddled by injuries again, which I hope they don't. I mean.